Hi, this is Dr. Hibbert. Thank you for coming back to our YouTube channel. Today we will be talking about the phlegmatic choleric blend. What is a blend? Or let me say, what is a phlegmatic, by the way? Do they make good employees or employers? Do they make good working partners? Do they make good husbands and good wives? Uh, let's just take a brief look, a brief glance at the five temperaments and how they respond or initiate. Um, Follow me closely. Number one, the choleric. The choleric is a temperament that they initiate, but they do not respond. Secondly, you have the supine. It's the opposite of the choleric. They respond, but they do not initiate. A supine is more like a sanguine who looks and acts like a melancholy. Number three, the melancholy. They do not initiate and are very slow to respond. Number four, the sanguine. The sanguine is both an initiator and a responder. Number five is the phlegmatic. The phlegmatic initiate and respond at their own pace. Can't push them. They're going to do their own thing because they're very slow pace. Let me say it's a very slow pace temperament. Whatever the phlegmatic does, it must not require much energy to do so. Phlegmatic regenerate through sleep, and that is not very effective at times. As a matter of fact, can be very ineffective. The phlegmatic is extremely slow paced and stubborn. Those of you who are dealing with a phlegmatic at home, you can probably relate to this statement. Very stubborn. They're almost impossible to change. Now, let's look further at temperament. Temperament does not simply determine an individual emotional needs. It also determines how one reacts when their needs are not met. A sanguine becomes almost insane with anger and then totally forgets the whole thing within minutes. A melancholy, on the other hand, will simmer for the rest of their life and seek vengeance in their mind. A supine pouts. A choleric is going to win at all cost. It doesn't matter what, a choleric is going to win because a choleric is a very controlling um, type of people user type temperament. The phlegmatic is not ruffled at all. There's not much you can do to get a choleric angry. Not much you can do to see them or say, wow, they're rough and they're vengeful or anything like that. You're not going to get much from a choleric. They're very calm, very cool, very selective, and easygoing. So let's look at blends, temperament blends. The first blend we're going to be looking at today is the phlegmatic choleric. So what is a blend? A blend is a combination of two or more things. It's a mixture of different things. So the phlegmatic choleric in inclusion. This person expresses, say, do, portray as a phlegmatic, but respond as a choleric. So you might be asking, what is expressing and what is things like that? Now, express as a phlegmatic means they tend to express a lesser need to socialize than a pure choleric. If you know that a pure choleric is very charming, very sociable type person, so the phlegmatic here, phlegmatic choleric in this case, express a lesser need to socialize than the pure choleric. They're very selective people. Phlegmatic express a desire for more detailed results and will not um, need as much approval and recognition as a pure choleric. A pure choleric, you have to give them approval. They have to know, and they know that they're doing a good job, but they want for you to tell them because it's Mr. Powerful, and it's all about them. It's all about self. Um, and a lot of people I know never done a test on them, but you just know that they're cholerics because of their demeanor, how they behave on a day-to-day basis. The phlegmatic will express their dry sense of humor, and this is to keep people from pushing them beyond their limits. They stubbornly refuse to be pushed. They don't want to be pushed, and so they get very stubborn. And what they do, they use their defense mechanism. It's their dry sense of humor to get people off. Um, a phlegmatic don't know how to hurry. They're very slow. They take it easy. And so, like husband and wife, whoever the phlegmatic may be, one, um, let's say this phlegmatic is married to a melancholy or um, maybe any of the other temperament. Let's say a sanguine. Sanguine is a up, ready to go type person, and the phlegmatic is so slow that you'll be waiting, 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 and then when he or she gets out, they want to rush. You know, they're rushing, but it's also at their own pace. So and it's very good. They're very good people, but the stubbornness sometimes can frustrate you. Um, they're capable of doing tedious tasks. They're non-responsive. At times, people are not able to read them, and you can hardly tell whether they are serious or they're joking. Um, respond as a choleric means they tend to respond by being charming. In other words, they appear to be people oriented, but are really very task oriented. Um, they tend to, or rather, they don't suffer from burnout like a pure choleric. They will not readily make things happen since they're expressing as a phlegmatic. They respond with charisma and will use this to get others to work with them. And you see, this can be somewhat confusing when you think about it because the phlegmatic, laid back, easygoing, the choleric is a fast paced, he's going 100 miles an hour when the phlegmatic is going 50 miles an hour. So that can create a problem even when in relationships because you see that he's not or she's not catching up and you're going, but they're just not catching up and they really don't care. You could move as fast as you want to. They're not going to rush to catch you at all. Okay? They respond by being whatever it takes to accomplish their goals. They respond with an angry, cruel temper if their charm does not work. Now, again, I don't want for you to feel confused here. We're talking about a phlegmatic choleric. Okay, the choleric is a very angry, cruel temperament, and very charming. They use their charm and their charisma to get people to do what they want them to do. And so a phlegmatic choleric is right in the middle of trying to balance um, the phlegmatic and the choleric temperament together. It's almost like you're dealing with two thought process, but it's really not two. It's one thought process, but it's a blend that is creating or has created the problem with people because they're expressing as one thing, but they really need to be something else. Um, they will tire more easily. The phlegmatic, therefore, the phlegmatic choleric, in inclusion, are stubborn and controlling because they have the phlegmatic stubbornness, and the choleric strength. As I said, this can be very confusing because you're dealing with two temperaments. One is slow, one is fast. One is easygoing, the other one is just making strides. The phlegmatic tend to be stressed and use rest to protect their low energy. Here on the other side now, the choleric says, go. And this is causing much stress, rendering them ineffective and almost unable to accomplish their goals. And so, maintaining balance between rest and work is the key for them to avoid burnout. A phlegmatic get along with any temperament in marriage. And I guess this is a good thing for you to know. Um, but there's a problem because the other person um, don't feel like the phlegmatic does. Because remember now, phlegmatic is easygoing, calm, cool, collective, even keeled. The other person is upset, they're mad, they're frustrated, they're unhappy because the phlegmatic is very laid back. And so the laid back, don't care approach frustrates the other person. When the phlegmatic don't see anything wrong with their behavior, it's affecting the other person. A phlegmatic is the most stable of all the temperaments. They do not have trouble with anger, rejection, or destructive behavior. They are very good negotiators and diplomats. For them, it's peace at all cost. Um, and so I want to repeat myself. A blend can be very troubling at times, um, especially when you look at this blend, phlegmatic and a choleric together. A phlegmatic choleric has the one laid back approach, sorry, of being the, this phlegmatic temperament, and they have the controlling approach of the choleric. And so here you have one is laid back, easygoing. The other one wants control, wants to be the ruler. The phlegmatic choleric and the phlegmatic melancholy will act much the same, but will have different motives. They both possess limited ability to socialize. The phlegmatic choleric, the phlegmatic melancholy. Remember that the melancholy is not a very sociable person. The phlegmatic, he socializes on his own terms, his own pace. He's not, he doesn't get excited about anything. He's more to just crack some jokes and all this type of thing. And so They have different motives. They both possess limited ability to socialize. The phlegmatic melancholy, what they do is that they screen out the people who do not meet their need for acceptance and approval. The choleric, on the other hand, uses people to meet their own needs. Phlegmatics are not people users. However, the phlegmatic the phlegmatic choleric uses the same criteria. They screen out and select those who will associate with them. And so the phlegmatic choleric and the phlegmatic melancholy are very cautious in selecting their day to day activities. This is very interesting to understand the blend of temperaments, because when you think of a blend, again, you're thinking of two things or two or more things. And so as I would say, they clash against each other. Okay. But the phlegmatic, pure phlegmatic, is very calm, very cool. He's a peacemaker, he or she, peacemakers, very easygoing, efficient, and balanced. So, phlegmatic is one of the best temperament that you could ever have of the five, but at the same time, they can frustrate you to the core. I hope this helps in your quest for understanding the blend of temperaments. Um, this book will help you to understand a little more about yourself and others. You can purchase it at Amazon or at iuniverse.com. Until next time, this is Dr. Hibbert saying, thanks for watching, thanks for listening. Bye bye.